T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, here we are in the Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. Welcome, welcome to episode 1 of All Monitor Talk. I am your host, Jen Black of the SOAR Network, and with me is...
Hey, how y'all doing? Uncle Mike, Mike's Monitors here, and we're glad that you joined our podcast.
Yeah.
Things Foist. We got to talk about USARK. So USARK, they fight for our rights to keep these animals that we love and we nurture in our care. And it's very important to conservation and, captive propagation of these animals, that you all join the USARK. And so if you're already a member, re-up your membership. If you're not a member and you have a squirrel, a chipmunk, a rat, a goldfish, any kind of reptile, amphibian, arachnids, creepy crawlies, you got to join USARK because these guys tirelessly fight for our rights to keep these animals. And if you don't think I'm serious when I say they tirelessly fight, they tirelessly fight because these crazy lawmakers are the fun police. They're coming after us for doing what we love, and it's just another way for them to put us under their thumb. So big props out to USARK for fighting our battles and sticking it to the man. Because, we love these animals, and that's what it's all about. So join USARK today.
Yes, please. And today's sponsor is Blake's Exotic Feeders. Anyone knows if you have monitors, you need good quality whole prey items. Here we have Blake's Exotic Feeders. Please reach out. Now, Mike, how are you?
Good. How are you, Jen? You're looking good.
Thank you. I am overly excited. We already have a ton of people to say hello to. We have McClure Hatchery, 1776 Exotics, Susui Lou, MORPH Kings. We got Norman the Tortoise. Look at this. Oh, there goes Tim, Intrepid Exotics. Hey.
Nice.
City Limits Exotics. We got Brad's Bioactive Build, Sunshine State Sulfurs, Green Line Morphs. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Wayne Zoo, thank you so much for joining us today. This is our intro episode, I would say, right, Mike?
Yes, this is our intro episode. And so what we're doing today, Jen, and people watching, and thank you all for joining in, and all the people in the chats and the live chats. Just want to put this out there. I'm sure it's known, but so all the super chats that are created by this podcast are they go directly to they go directly to the USARK because they need our money to fight our battles. So what we're doing today is we're just kind of going to give you a rundown of what you can expect out of this. And so it's going to be a little bit of, special guests. It's going to be a lot of subject matter. And, I want to put this out there. There's more than one way to skin a cat when it comes to any of this breeding or keeping of reptiles and reptile husbandry. So most of what you hear coming out of my mouth is going to be my opinions and, my take on things with, 30 plus years with monitors experience. And again, it's not, everyone should think for themselves. So with that, there's going to be some cool subjects. There's going to be some subjects that are, maybe a little controversial, but we will always keep things upbeat and positive. We will not be drawn into internet drama and stupidness, so to speak. So You're not going to get that here. You're going to get information and some cool guests.
Yes, I agree with Mike wholeheartedly. Anybody who knows me, and for those of you that do not know me, I have a digital magazine representing members and businesses and keepers of all kinds of reptiles. SOAR stands for Support of All Reptiles, and Mike and I are adamant about such topics.
And I got to say, so Jen started this SOAR magazine, which is an online magazine. I'm old as dirt. I don't really understand all this technology and whatnot, but man, what Jen has done with this online magazine is absolutely amazing. So if anybody, wants a little information, and it's almost going to be like her thing is almost how this podcast is going to be. She highlights good keepers and good practices. And it's a fascinating thing to see, because I'm old school. I remember getting self-addressed stamped envelopes with things and, an actual magazine that you hold in your hand. And what Jen has done, in my opinion, and I might be wrong because I'm old, it is very, very revolutionary and it's very cool. So go check that out.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Mike. It's very important. I like to actually showcase businesses that are ethic breeders, are fantastic keepers. I like sharing with everybody their way of raising their animals. And the message for SOAR, for everyone here, is that we're a small community in a big world. A lot of people don't understand exotics the way we do or appreciate them. So we want to send a positive message out there to everyone listening, or people that are just learning about the reptile world, and the magazine is a part of that. And now that we have this platform to actually talk and share these things, I think this is going to be a great thing. We're talking about Mike, a lot of, seriously, Mike Stefani, there's really no introduction there. A lot of people know who he is and know that he has some serious knowledge when it comes to reptiles, monitors specifically. A little bit about how me and Mike met, right, Mike?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say they don't understand that dynamic, but Mike and I are old school, and
she looks young. I look old, but
whatchamacallit, a lot of it has to do with, again, we have a lot of good knowledge, good experiences, but we also have the bad experiences, and we take a little bit of both, and we like to move forward with it.
Well, yeah, go on, Jen. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm babbling, I think. Am I babbling? I think I'm babbling.
With being a very long time keeper, probably started when I was 5, maybe really seriously in my teens. But at any rate, your best teacher is your mistakes. I mean, I'm the old school guy. There's things that coming up I wanted to do, and back then I heard the whole, oh, that's not going to work. It's da-da-da-da. And, even when I just started a couple of years ago with my emerald tree boas, I heard the same thing. You can't keep them over water. You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. Well, I'm here to tell you, whether it's right or wrong, I'm learning. I keep them over water. I have a gravid female right now. I'm waiting for her to drop a litter. So trial and error was always my best teacher. So take everything that we say with a grain of salt. And with that, I just wanted to say that, so the news this time of the year is there's some big things coming up. So next weekend is the NARBC show in Tinley Park, Illinois. That's our spring show. And man, it's the only way for me to describe it. The NARBC, for me, in our field, it's like our Super Bowl. So it's our big show. It's the best show in the country. So we have that coming up next weekend. Come down and see me. And also with that, Redline Shipping, Robin Markland has started a very cool promotional campaign where he had reached out to the community, and anyone who wanted to participated, and he created, or he sent you to a place where they'll create your logo, and what I think they're calling them badges or patches, but they're your logo and they're a little smaller, so they're about 2-inch, and there's a reason for that. So he's putting out these fanny pack bags, which is great for me because I'm old school. When I was in the 80s, I had a fanny pack, and I probably should have one now. So Redline is doing this promotional campaign, which is great for our community. You buy the little badges or patches, whatever you call, and now when people and customers buy the little fanny pack with the Velcro on the front, you trade your logos with other people, and they fasten to the fanny pack, and it's just great promotion for people. It's very fun, and man, that's what this should be all about, is fun, because we love this stuff. So look for that coming up at this Tinley this March. It's going to be very, very epic. Good on you, Robin Markland, for starting this campaign. I'm behind it fully. I think it's fantastic that it's a way for everyone to support each other. And one more thing I'd like to get out of the way is, so coming up May, and Brian, don't kill me. I'm not real sure on the exact date, but it's Memorial Day weekend, the Saturday. I don't know the date, but it's still a little ways off. So we're having Monitor Fest, which is a great, it's a great social event. We all get together, we have fun, we eat, everyone just talking monitors. We do some crazy fun things. I remember like last year was the second year, and man, was it wild. So there's this one young dude, his name is Alec, and I had something, a little package. It was a cup donated by USARK. So I only had the one to give out as a contest, so to speak. So, me and Brian Waterloo puts on Monitor Fest every spring, and he does a great job. He puts out some money for this. So, I hope everybody comes. It's in Minooka, Illinois. It's the weekend of Memorial Day. So at any rate, let me get back to this story. This was hilarious. So I got this cup donated by USARK, my friend Vanessa, and I didn't know how can we do something fun? So Brian has a very big Great Dane, and he has the Invisalign fence, the electric fence. So somebody came up with the idea, we're going to put the shock collar on, and whoever can go furthest or closest to the electric shock wins. So a couple of guys put it on, and they were like, it ain't working. Yeah, just keep going. So one guy, Brogan Maloney, he got out there, and he's like, oh, no. So he backed out. Well, he didn't back out. So he got like to the original shock, and that was it for him. So this kid, Alex, he puts the collar on, and this kid was balls out, gung ho. I'm doing this. So he puts the collar on, and he starts running towards the shock point. And I guess what happens is if you break through that, you kind of lose the joltage. So we're all like, oh no, man, what are you doing? And he goes, I went the furthest. I'm like, no, keep that on. He's starting to take it off. I'm like, no, keep that thing on. Come on back. Well, he starts walking back, and now he's facing us. He's not running away from us. He's facing us, and he's being jolted, and he still has the collar on, but he has to come back to the crowd. So he fights his way through, jolted, and he runs back out, and he kind of understands where that shock is going to start. So he's like in a slow jog, and he's getting to the shock point. And man, forgive me for what I'm going to say, but man, this was funny. So he gets to the shock point, and he's getting it. You could tell he's like, but he's still walking. All of a sudden, he reaches around with his hand, and he puts his hand like on his butt. And I'm like, what the heck is this kid doing? Well, it turns out that the shock was so intense, like it made him pucker, if you know what I'm talking about. So he puckered up and he won the contest, and it was just a lot of fun. Monitor Fest is a great time. Everyone should come out and really check it out at some point.
Just a disclaimer, not everyone's going to get electrocuted at Monitor Fest. Okay, only if you want to. Only if you want to. I'm sure it could be arranged, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this year we were thinking about maybe taping somebody to the wall and like lighting firecrackers and hitting them with a tennis racket at them and see who can, you know, no, I'm playing. We'll figure something out. It'll be fun. It's not a torture fest.
No, it's Monitor Fest, not Torture Fest.
Absolutely.
No. There's actually going to be monitors there, just so you guys know.
Yeah,
and,
just, you know, yeah, go on, Jen.
I just want to give a shout out. We have our boy, Nathan Souza, Tim from Intrepid Exotics. We also have Karen joining us.
Hey, Karen, what's up, love?
Yeah, and Christy A. Maney, my friend, my dear sister, Christy also has joined us. And none other than Nikki Lilly is with us as well. So this is awesome. I am so happy to have all you guys joining us. This is crazy. I love this, Mike. Look at
I'm glad awesome. It seems to be going over real well. And like I said, so today's show is just going to be talking about what we're doing. Thank you guys all for joining in. And our first guest is the one and only Mr. Brian Waterloo. You can catch him at the @ Waterloo Lace on Instagram. Man, this guy, he's my bro. I've known him for many, many years. He's a wealth of knowledge. You know, I would even say, I will say, he is a vital source of information for lace monitors. I mean, back when all this stuff was in its infancy, you know, and everybody was working with animals that were available. Brian was working with animals that are available, but man, Brian with a passion has always talked, I'm going to get lace monitors. I'm going to get lace monitors. And for you young guys who there's lace monitors everywhere, there was a point when there wasn't a lot of lace monitors in the United States. And, you know, in the back of my head, I was always like, yeah, Brian, you know, being an Australian species and all, it's not like they're readily available. I'm like, yeah, bro, you know, I really, you know, I hope the best for you. I hope you get them. And man, that dude, he stuck to his guns and he got them. He breeds them. He builds beautiful enclosures, and he's going to be our first guest. So we're going to be chopping it up a little bit about Monitor Fest with Brian. And I just talked to him this morning. There's some subjects he wants to talk about too, as in regards to his monitor lizards and cage building. So here you're going to get cage building, naturalistic cage building, proper diets, proper temperatures, proper humidity, soil depths. This is going to be a deep dive into the monitor world and what we recommend is best for these animals. Is it right? Might not always be right, but it's what we believe in and what we've worked with. You know, how we came to these conclusions of what has happened through trial and error. That's your best teacher. Your mistakes are your best teachers. So we're going to be doing that. And, you know, we're going to bring on some guests every now and then. We're not going to do like most podcasts. Not every podcast is going to be a guest. But Jen has a lady she wants to bring on, which is going to be a very good deep dive into diets and proper diets.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that too.
It's also important that we want our listeners to know, listeners, listeners, watchers, whatever. I don't know, you people. If you guys can think of something or have any questions, just join, subscribe, be a part of this. Mike and I are starting this, and this is, it could be just me and Mike talking to other people, but you guys are also out there. You're the people that are the beginners first starting with reptiles. You guys are the people who have experience under your belts. You have to come and share. You have to open up. We're really a small community, and we need to band together. And as Mike had mentioned about USARK is doing the legwork for us, but as a community, we have to do our part as well. We have to share legit facts. We have to be proactive and being positive about our messages, especially concerning reptiles, because out there in the world, they're not perceived as positive as we make them out to be. So we have to share our knowledge, share our thoughts, our concerns, and this is going to be the platform to do it. We're going to be pouring all this information out to you, and if you want to learn more, if you don't want to learn more, if you like it, if you don't like it, you got to let us know. You got to let us know what is important to you and what you want out there.
And anytime that we're doing like a guest spot, and we have like Brian Waterloo, our next show, which is going to be in 2 weeks, the live chats, questions, Jin's going to be in control of the board and tell us who's asking questions. And on the times when we do have guests, we prefer that you direct your questions towards the guest. And then there will be times when we do this show and it's just me and Jin. Then you can ask questions directly of Jin or I, but show respect for our guests. And this is going to be a beautiful thing. And all topics are open for discussion on Monitor Lizards. No drama.
Yes. No drama. Drama-free community. Yeah, that's going to be us. We're going to have fun. What else is there, Mike? We're going to be obviously talking about, I'm excited. I just have to say, before I forget or before I explode and out of nowhere it just comes out, but I'm excited because I've known of Waterloo, I've known of Monitor Fest, and look at this. Check this out. I want to share this with you guys. In case you guys don't know, I haven't been to Monitor Fest. I plan to go eventually, but I'm a big fan. See that? That's
tilt it a little bit. Tilt it down a little, Jim. You got glare on there.
There it is. There's Monitor Ops and Exotics. That's one of my groups. And you see the sticker there, and obviously, big fan of this fella right here. There you go. But yeah, I am excited about that because I know of him, but I'm dying to hear what he has to say. I've heard the electrocution story.
Yeah.
That I've heard. I was just like, oh Lord, that sounds like a party I can't miss.
And I excuse me, I know that was on video. So if anybody has that video, you want to post it up. It's hilarious. So go ahead, Jen. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I know that video's out there.
But this is a great opportunity to hear what he's got to say and talk about Monitor Fest, because in case you're out there and you don't know much about me, I actually admin 4 groups, 3 groups and a page so far, I think. But people ask me, what is Monitor Fest? Can anyone go? Can this and that and whatever? And I'm like, hey, he's going to be here. Like, you guys got to hear what he has to say. And if you are new to monitors or have had monitors on and off, whatever, I think this is going to be really good if you're a fan of monitors, which I am. So
yeah,
it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be real good. So, another thing I want to bring up, since we're talking about our show and what to expect, is, and this is no disrespect to anybody, there's a lot of so many great people out there that we could talk in the monitor world, but we're going to try to keep this at an hour an hour and a half if if we're running long. But the reason Jen and I decided on this is because we want it to come out. We want it to come out fast. We want you to get hit heavy with information and not so much. Once you start going too long, it becomes a little mundane, and then towards the end you do a lot of the maybe repeating yourself. So we don't want that. We want to hit you with great information and a fun time for an hour and a half, and then be gone and let all we talked about marinate in your brain. And then we want to see you on the Facebook groups and other social media platforms discussing this stuff, because how we advance is by sharing ideas and information. And you know what? If somebody says somebody just gave me a question this morning, and I'm always going to be honest with you. He said, "Hey, Uncle Mike, do you know anything about how to keep the air from stagnating inside these grow tents that everybody's using?" I said, "I don't really know grow tents. I've never used them. However, I kind of liken them to my incubator. So in my incubator, there's a lot of commercially available incubators. People make their own incubators. And what I found here, again, a lot of this information is regional. So from the Midwest to the desert Southwest to California to the wet, rainy West Coast, to wherever the case may be. Your regional conditions, your weather patterns are going to vary from place to place. So basically what I'm trying to say is what I do here in the basement in the Midwest, it's not going to work in California where it's cooking hot or whatever. So, we got to discuss these ideas. So back to the tent. The guy was worried about air stagnating in the tent. I've never used one, so I just merely suggested to him that you put a little computer fan in there with a dimmer switch so you control the speed. If in my incubator, I run my computer fan to where it just barely moves the air. It moves so slow, I had to hang little ribbons from it so I could see if it's even moving. So all I'm trying to do is circulate that warm air, and not so much for stagnation, but just to keep the temperatures stable and the same throughout the whole box. So that was my suggestion to the kid on the grow tent. Again, I might be talking on my butt. Never used a grow tent, but that was my first statement to him: is I've never used it. Here's something you might want to try. So we're going to see. He's going to get back to me and see how it works.
Yeah, we have a comment from USARK. It's a great point, Mike. Something that works in Florida may not work exactly the same in Arizona. And I, for one, I had moved, and this is within New York, not far from my previous location. And temperature and humidity changed completely. So I had to readjust everything. Everything that I had dialed in one location had to be done from scratch in the new location. And then to top it off, when the seasons were changing, I had to dial everything again. So I think that's another thing that we should get into as well, because I get a lot of questions through Messenger because people don't feel as comfortable posting it in a public group or like a big, stage, quote unquote. So with that being said, I think it's important to emphasize that, just as we get our little snifflies and stuff during like allergy season, or the way we have to bundle up 1 minute and then like it's going to be warm the next, you have to keep that in mind. I think, it's important to also talk about how to do that. Like, if I have 3 heat lamps, do I need to buy another one? Or can I just lower the computer fan, to keep it a little bit warmer? Things of that nature. I think there's just so many topics to talk about, and there's just so many. Again, a lot of the things that people talk about might be redundant, but ooh, what's this?
Thank you. Thank you.
Cebola Culp. Hell yeah, Varanus are the best. I'd love to watch a monitor-specific show. I'd be really excited to see a dwarf species episode, especially if you're covering species other than Aki's and Kim's. Maybe try to get Brandon Shiflett from Rare Earth. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. That is awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for that super chat, USARK. There we go. We got our first one. So, yay! Thank you there.
Yes, thank you. We've got actually a few. We had gotten a few. Thank you all who've contributed. This is just so amazing.
Oh,
We've got Intrepid.
beautiful. Man,
Yeah.
what a great community that we got. You know what? I got to say, in the monitor world, you know, it does become a little, you know, well, I don't know what, like cliquey, but not really. As a whole, we're a pretty tight community. And, you know, we're to see people getting into monitor husbandry, man, it's so fantastic because I got to say, you know, monitor husbandry is a little step above. These animals are very intelligent. They're smart. As much as you're looking at them, they're looking at you. They're assessing you, the sounds in your room, the smells. They know things are happening long before they're presented with things. So, you know, and monitor lizards are an everyday chore. You know, you got to do their waters every day, especially if you have, you know, like water monitors that poop in their water and things like that. So it's a labor of love for sure. But to have a collection of monitors, it's a lot of work. You know, it's sometimes I wish, oh man, if, you know, I could go away for the weekend if I just had snakes or whatever. But, you know, I got to always have, if I am away for a weekend, I got to have somebody here watching and doing things. So, yeah, monitors, keep this in mind, are an everyday deal. You can't just walk away from your monitors. If you have one or two, you probably can. But to have a collection, you know, there's always something to do.
Yeah, and before I forget, thank you, Brad's Bioactive build. He contributed. As I mentioned, Intrepid contributed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. This is huge. We got Heathen Hatchery, Brian, who contributed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Grateful. So grateful. And then the Cephala Culp, he also contributed. You guys are amazing. Bill Powell, thank you.
Thank you. That's my brother from shit. I know that. Me and Bill, we go back to freaking kindergarten when I had a fishbowl haircut. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, Bill. Really appreciate you, brother.
That is awesome. Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of fun. To talk monitors is huge because again, I have two. And as you said, like it's having two children. I wouldn't change it for the world. But again, there's a lot of that, oh, you want to go away this weekend? You want to go here? You want to go there? And I'm like, I have to find somebody to
you got to set yourself up like, for it.
It's not one of those things like, you know, they can go overnight without anyone looking after them. I'm like, yeah, no, that's really not going to, you know, that shouldn't happen. So, so that's going to be interesting to talk about. Obviously, husbandry is going to be the main focus. We're going to talk to monitor people. So that we already had emphasized. There probably will be topics USARK related. I actually posted on the SOAR network the latest updates of different states on USARK. I tend to do that. I don't do it often as much as I should, but when I get emails from USARK, I love to like share it with the group to make sure everybody is informed, and that's important too, because just because it's not happening in my state doesn't mean it's not as important. Every state's important.
And with that said, Jen, as you know, with these legislatures and the way things work, we're basically, it's a house of cards. So when they crack down this, you know, we could go state by state or county by county. So if you knock out one little county here, this part of the house of cards falls. And when it falls, it's very hard to rebuild it. I mean,
Yeah.
Phil Goss and Vanessa, Daniel down there in Florida and Elizabeth, man, they do such a great job. They're so passionate for this. But once you take out a little foundation like that, other states and counties tend to follow that. So when they do pop that and we go this way, well, we got Phil and Vanessa and USARK Florida to try to shimmy it back up. And before, we don't want it to go boop, 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 crumble. We don't want that. We need to catch things before they start. And as individuals, there's just not enough time in a day. Phil Goss is like a Superman with this stuff. So
yeah,
he tirelessly works to battle these crazy laws. I mean, some of them are just absolutely crazy. Some of them, I get, they're necessary. But, some of them just don't even make sense. So that's why we have USARK back in this industry up, and thank God for them.
Yeah, we actually had a big change in New York. I think it was like last week. They canceled one of the biggest expos, reptile expos on Long Island, because apparently the counties and stuff like that were not wanting constrictors and certain arachnids and insect species from being sold. And apparently, again, there's like a lot of mismatches and blurred lines where they say that it's illegal. Some people tell you that it's not legal. So there's a lot of miscommunication as what's legal, what are they allowed to have, what are they not allowed to have. So they basically just canceled the entire expo. And the people behind the expo are trying to find another venue, but it seems like wherever they go, they're following suit with this county, with this, so
that's exactly
again, it's a kick in the pants, because aside from a zoo, I mean, there's pros and cons of expos, but that's with everything. So where are you taking your kids to see that, a whole bunch of different reptiles that for minimal price or that's local or something like that? Not many places, and a lot of times in these expos, they do have educational things for kids. It's a great, resource, so to speak. And it's also good to go in and meet people and things like that share passion for reptiles. And now it's like, it just seems like any chance they get, their reptiles are being put on the chopping block. The business itself is being put on the chopping block. And if we're not aware, if we don't act now, it's going to get so far ahead of us that there's not going to be nothing we can do about it.
Right. So that's why it's very important to renew your memberships. And, I don't really know the membership tiers, but I'm pretty sure there's a very inexpensive entry level type thing that you should all join. And then, after you start getting deeper in the hobby, donate your time, donate animals to auctions. I know they're always looking for people to volunteer, to help out at shows, volunteer at shows and whatnot. So yeah, that's very important. And you had mentioned something about zoos, which kind of I wanted to bring this up too. So I've been in this stuff for a very, very long time, and I can remember going back. As much as I love my animals, I love creating naturalistic type habitats, so they look beautiful for people to see, for me to watch, and for the animals to enjoy. And in doing your naturalistic setups, there's you could use like running water, drip walls where they can drink fresh water, bioactive soils and dirts. I get this all the time. Hey, I found this beautiful log in my backyard. Now we're talking verandahs only right now. I found this beautiful log in my backyard, but it's too big to fit in my oven. What do? You know what I do? I put them right in my enclosure with, of course, I don't live anywhere where there's fire ants or anything like that. I mean, sometimes I have to eradicate maybe some carpenter ants. Very easy to do. Hose it off, leave it out in the sun a couple days, and they want to go somewhere else because they're in the sun. So, you know, things from outside are not a big deal for monitor lizards. So back when I was a kid, I would find logs, branches, whatnot, and I put them in my enclosure. And, you know, of course, here in the Midwest, I get leaves. You know, in the fall, I have leaves up the butt. You put your soil in there, you top it off with leaves, it holds the humidity in. It creates a nice biome. So I can remember back in the day, you know, people were saying to me, oh, you know, you're going to give your animals some kind of parasite or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, man. You know, a peach throat from New Guinea, I think could probably handle, you know, an earthworm or a springtail or microfungi from, you know, the Midwest. So I never gave it a second thought. And then one day I had my peach throat set up, beautiful setup, naturalistic, bioactive soil, which at the time, this is going way back, it wasn't called bioactive soil. Once I realized what I had, I called all the bioactivity in my enclosure, I called it my workhorses, because what happened was one night just before lights go out, I come down every night and check my things when lights go out and then after lights are out for a couple hours, just to make sure. So I seen this giant pile of crap on my substrate, and it was late, and I'm like, you know what? I'll get that in the morning. Well, when I came down in the morning, it was just before the lights came on, and, you know, I'm looking, and of course it was dark. I couldn't see the lights come on because everything's on timers. And from where that pile of poop was, I just seen millipedes, centipedes, isopods, springtails. Everything was just scurrying away from that pile of crap, and there was no more crap. So I was like, wow, how cool is that? I didn't have to clean that thing up. And so people would always say to me, well, aren't you worried that you're going to get an explosion of that stuff? Well, you know what really happens is in the beginning, you may get an explosion, but just like anything else that's a biome or like a natural thing, I don't know, I'm at a loss for words right now.
Ecosystem,
an ecosystem. Thank you, Jen.
Self-sustaining ecosystem.
A self-sustaining ecosystem, and with that, I always kept an eye on it because I didn't want this big bloom. Well, one time I noticed that there was a pretty big bloom, and, you know, so I was like, you know, I didn't want to do nothing about it. I was like, let's just stay the course here and we'll see what's happening. And what happens is your animals go from your bioactivity from you get from outside comes in, and they're not used to these giant piles of lizard poop. So they do have a boom. But what happens is after the boom, with you never get overdone with your bioactivity because it only sustains what is available for it. So, you know, if you have one monitor, you're going to have so many workhorses, bioactivity. And if you have two really big ones, you're going to get a little more, but it all balances out, and they won't boom past what's needed for them to survive. So it levels out and it becomes a beautiful thing. You never have to add any more. You never have to take any away. And it's a very, very beautiful thing. And like I say, people ask me, they're like, they come down here and like, you know, if my waters are dirty and I'm changing them, you know, there's a little smell down here. But if they come down and my room has already been changed, all their waters, and, you know, they're like, wow, I would never have guessed you have reptiles down here. It smells, you know, nice. It smells earthy. So I share this all the time. I take my bioactive soil, and this is how, so I collect all my own soil from outside. So how I choose what's good and what's bad is like the movie Braveheart, remember, or Gladiator, or whatever. Remember, he picks up the dirt and he feels it. Well, I pick up that dirt and I hold it to my mug and I take a big inhale. And if it smells like the woods after a rain, beautiful. That's great stuff. Varanids
that ozone smell.
Varanids can be quite picky with their substrate, and not so much as, you know, a solo animal or anything, but a nesting female. You know, I can remember back in the day when we didn't know nothing about dirts and soil, so we were everybody. And back then, like even Kai was a young kid figuring all this stuff out. You know, we didn't really know where to. You know, humans we're lazy, so we think, oh, if there was only a product that we can buy. And I'm cheap, man. I'm as cheap as they come. I'm like, I ain't buying dirt. I can go out and find dirt. So I would go out and find my own dirt. I give it the smell test, and that's really what it takes to. So if you get a good, strong, earthy smell after the rain, I guarantee you, most forest type monitors, water type monitors, they really love that. Now, what I do for Ondatria species is I use my same dirt, but I'll add a little like heavy sand to it, like torpedo sand, not the real fine stuff. Like torpedo sand, it's a little pebbly and it has the fine stuff in it. But I mix it all together, and I found it works just as good for Ondatrias as any of these other species.
Yep. Oh, we got, thank you, Lucina Borealis, I said Borealis, it's Boreals. Thank you. And South Bay Reptiles, thank you so much.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Souza. Thank you so much. I love you.
And now for that, awesome. I'm going to give you a discount on your next monitor there, Nathan, because I love you, bro.
I'll stop charging you for therapy sessions. No, I'm joking. For those of you that don't know, Nathan Souza is a keeper, and he's an amazing keeper. He has a vast array of monitors as well as other reptiles, and he's pretty damn good at how he takes care of his animals, and he's always showcasing them. So if no one knows of Nathan Souza, you guys should definitely look him up. He takes awesome photographs too, right, Mike? Especially of Mindy.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I try to be humble. You know, God wants me to be humble, but he does have some pretty nice monitors to photograph.
Yes.
But he has other monitors like Fox's Reptiles. He has some of his, and he has some of Wes Carter's. So there's a lot of great keepers out there with beautiful animals. So I'm not, you know, I support everybody. If you're a good person in this stuff and you think you're my competition, I don't have competition. I don't do this for money. I do this for the love of my animals. What I have down here is why I do it. So if somebody else is passionate about this stuff and they're selling the same things that I'm selling, I don't care. You know, good luck. Whoever makes a sale, great. If I don't make a sale, great. Karen, I'm sorry for saying that, but it is. I don't give a shit about the money. I make the money for my wife and my family, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And also we have, this is from Selfola Culp. Uncle Mike, were you ever in the Old Varanus forum with Frank Reitz? He definitely talked a lot about dirt and using silty soil.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I go back to the, I mean, dude, I was born in 64. So by the time I was, 74, 75, I was deep into reptiles and husbandry, even as a young boy. But when the internet came around, like I was saying, the first thing that I think everybody started with was kingsnake.com. And then there were several other little forum groups. But I mean, I've been on all of them. We've discussed every topic under the sun. We've figured things out with help from people, with help from without people. Some people were willing to share information, and other people kept it tight to their vest. And you know what? We whether you hold on to that, I don't know why you would. It's better to share the information than to You know, some people don't want to be knocked off the hill, whatever. The hill is, and nowadays, there is no hill. We're all
No,
the
there
same,
isn't.
and we share information. And yeah, so I'm from the, the .com days. So I was in there with all of that, in the trenches.
The
So
OGs. The OGs.
yeah.
Yes, yes. We're reaching at 12:50 now. So before I forget, guys, please look us up on Facebook and Instagram. Join, email us. Let us know how we did. Let us also know what you want to hear. Share this information with everyone. Have them come and try us out. Listen to our podcast. Regardless if you just want to chime in when we have guests or hear me and Mike shoot the shit. Whichever the case may be, spread the word. It's important that we get people involved and spread the word, especially knowledge, and pretty much stick together through this.
Thank you, Jen, for being a good governor of this, the pace here, because I get off on tangents, I lose myself. So I'm glad, I have you as my co-host or as my partner in this to keep things going the way they should. Bring me in a little bit because I tend to get freaking crazy lost in my thoughts and stuff. So
I do too, though.
Yeah. With that said, going back, like I said, I lose track. So there was a point to all of that. And back then, when I was doing naturalistic enclosures, and 90% of the people were all about it. They were all like, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Great. Hit me up. We'll talk. We'll get it done. And then there was the other crowd that was very simplistic, lowest common denominator type enclosures and, bare, nothing aesthetic in there, which hey, there's, like we said, like we started our show off with, there's more than one way to skin a cat. But wouldn't you rather look at a color TV than a black and white TV? I mean, that's the contrast in naturalistic versus lowest common denominator using, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, I don't want to look at my monitor climbing up a clothing rack. I don't want to look at my monitor laying on a tile. I would much rather have a rock or a branch, a log. Yeah. Some plants in there, and there's other things that these aesthetics help you achieve in your husbandry. So if you have a couple of animals in one enclosure, large enough enclosure, if say you've got two or more, you always want more than one basking spot, more than one hide spot. So when you do have more than one basking spot, what I always do and what I've always done is I keep one on this side and I keep one on this side. And I watch my animals and, you can see them looking at each other and maybe a subordinate animal is getting bullied a little bit. So the dominant animal will climb down off of this log and come up over here. And now the subordinate runs away. And so to cut down on all of that, I've always used plants hanging down as visual barriers. Yeah. So when one's basking and the other one's basking, if they don't see each other, they're not, communicating with each other. Hey, knucklehead, I'm coming for you. And they can comfortably bask. So a lot of people say, oh, those plants aren't necessary. I beg to differ. If you use them in the right placement, it helps your husbandry out a lot. So back in those days, when some people would crack on me for my naturalistic enclosures, I would look to the Europeans who, man, I love naturalistic enclosures. I'm not going to keep saying that, but I do. So the Europeans, even back in those days, the early 90s and beyond, way beyond, they were always about naturalistic enclosures. I mean, and they step it up. They have live plants. That's kind of hard with verandas, but it's possible. But live plant, I'm a plant killer, so I use fake. Live plants, good dirt, soils, natural branches. So I was always more in tune with the European type keepers, but you know, and I've always promoted that naturalistic. And of course, when I say naturalistic, listen to what I'm saying. Naturalistic. It's not natural, but it looks nice. And it helps me in my head. It helps my animals in their heads, I think. And to see in this day and age how naturalistic keeping in the monitor world is really taking off. Oh, it warms my heart. I love it. And, you know, so another guy I want to really shout out right now is Brad Gierke of Brad's Bioactive Builds on YouTube. You can catch him on Facebook, all the social medias. He had come here and he looked over my enclosures and, you know, he's like, wow, you know, this is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I turned him on to the Polygem Zoopoxy, another shameless plug. Great stuff. Go out and look for it, research it, look on my webpage. You'll see all kinds of things you could do to it with it. And Brad Gierke has he's keeping me on my toes because, man, this guy is good. He's very, very meticulous at building and creating his naturalistic habitats. And I thank God for him because, you know, right when I was kind of started getting complacent with the way I do things, this guy comes in and he steps up the game. So now I'm going to step up my game. And that's what we need to do in this hobby. We need to feed off each other and keep growing. And then maybe these stupid lawmakers will come and they'll say, wow, that guy put all that time into that animal. Maybe there's more to it than you know, maybe they're not exploiting these animals. Maybe they are, you know, nurturing and caring for these animals and not torturing them or whatever they use as a way to try to take our stuff away. I mean, if anybody came down here and looked at my stuff and thought I was abusive to my animals, I could change their mind in 10 minutes. Just come and look at my stuff. So we always need to be, you know, iron sharpens iron. So Brad's Bioactive Builds, he's really stepping up my game. And, man, follow that guy. He's going places. Mason Barnes, a big shout-out to Mason Barnes. He got his first coming eye hatching. I believe it was like last night or early this morning. Nice job, Mason. So I know we're coming up on an hour here, and I feel like I've babbled. So take over, Jen.
I want to say thank you, Mike. This is like a huge opportunity because you're my friend and now you're like my co-host. We're like the Batman and Robin of the podcast, I guess. I don't know. You know, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to everybody who joined us today. Thank you so much. The people that contributed. This is huge. This is ginormous. I am so grateful. Please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. Reach out to us. Tell us how we did. Tell us what you guys want to hear, and share with us your experiences. And do not forget about USARK. It's very important. They're doing the hardest part for us. We can support them in supporting us. So this is huge. And a great shout out to people from Monitor Lizards and All Things Reptiles, the SOAR Network, as well as my girls, Jody Hall, Katie Bruce, Christy Maney. We've got a lot of people to thank, and I want to say thank you for your support even before this, and I hope that you got our backs in the future. And Panda, Liz, Betty, love you guys. So anything else, Mike?
Yeah. How about you know, you can catch me on all of my social medias. It's always Mike's Monitors, whether it's .com, at Instagram, or Facebook. I do want to say something. My Facebook Mike's Monitor page, I'm not real tech savvy, so you're better off on Facebook just to hit up Michael Stefani. I do have a Mike's Monitors Facebook page. I rarely go back and interact with it. I do go from time to time, but it tends to get, you know, my notifications and stuff tend to get really long. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm just a moron, and I don't often check it. So catch me at Michael Stefani on Facebook. And catch me at NARBC next weekend. And don't forget the promotion that Robin Markland, Redline Shipping is doing. It's going to be a great thing. Beautiful patches that we could pass out and give and donate or whatever the case may be. And as always,
USARK. Thanks again, everybody. Don't forget, in 2 weeks, we're going to be back here and we're going to be doing our thing. Please join us. Please spread the word. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
bye now.
Bye.